Okay, we're going to start off with bunk number 1, and it's going to have a wall called A and a wall called B. Added photo instructions will show that these will need screwed in, and make sure to flush the front face together. Should look something like this. So when you're setting this one up and you have the right bed set in place, you might have to pull this gap tight by hand. So hold that nice and tight. Alrighty. Alright. After you get this step done, you should have the left and right bunks put together. All the brackets should be screwed in. It should be pulled nice and tight. All these seams should fit nice, just like this. Next, we are going to set the top bed sets in place on top of these brackets and screw them in from the bottom. Okay, so above the left bunk, we are going to have the bed set labeled F. After you've got bed set F put in, you'll notice the sticker for it is on the front and it'll match with the left one here. You'll know it's the front side because it's going to have these slots in the front of it. And a slot over here noted for the rail. We'll see how that works in a second. From the bottom side, you're going to run some 3-inch T25 screws with washers through the bottom of all these brackets. Make sure everything is pulled down and this is tight. Alrighty. So next, you're going to put these rails in. You're going to have rail G and rail H. G is going to have some T25 3-inch screws ran through this plate to go into the rail support. And for rail H, it's going to have screws that are going to go through the front of it into the bed set. Okay, from the back side, you're going to screw this bracket on in between G and H. It's going to keep your rail nice and firm. Okay, so next you're going to get the ladder. There's not a really good place to put any markings on the ladder. The side that's going to go up is going to have 2 screw holes, and you're also going to notice that the segment is longer because it's inset into the bed set. Then, once you set it in, you're going to run these screws in, and every one of them is a T25 3-inch screw. Okay, so now you should have bed set K put in place. The marking is on the front right corner. The left side, as you see, is a solid 2x support. When you're done, you're going to make sure to push it all the way down and run the T25s 3-inch longs with washers into all 4 brackets. When you're done, it should look like this. Okay, now you're going to be putting a piece that's labeled L in. It has 3 screws going in here, here, and here. The L coincides with the L marked on the bed set. Next row we're going to be working on is this one, and it's going to have 3 screws that go in here. Whenever you're done with the right side rails, make sure to screw in these brackets into the top. They will just be a supplied Phillips head screw. Also, make sure to get the seam nice and tight whenever you go to do it. It should look like this when you're done. Okay, on the back of this front rail, you're going to run these number 2 square 1.25" long screws through that to support this front skirt you see here. Also, on the underneath side, we're going to be putting some flat strap brackets. Those will be on it, and they'll just require a Phillips head screw on the bottom. On the underside of the skirt, there is a bracket. You'll just have to put in these 2 Phillips head screws. So for this one, you're going to want to run a couple screws to the back of the rail to support this skirt. Then on the back, you will notice that there is a metal bracket. And if you run into any issues like this where it's not flush, you got to make sure to pull this tight. You got to pull this bed set flush to the back of this support, and that will remove anything like that. And it should have 4 metal brackets on the back. On these bottom skirt rails, you will see a line coming up 10 inches from the bottom, and the screw holes will line up with them. Here are both of them. They just have 1.25 inch number 2 square drive. Okay, whenever you are done setting up, you may want to look through, and there might be a little bit of missing paint or slight scuffs from assembly. You'll just use the supplied paint and a foam brush to just touch up as needed, if any is needed through assembly.